Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Mann. I'm the VP of Product Design at Squarespace. Today, I'm going to talk about a problem I imagine all of us encounter, how to make sure your product teams are prioritizing the experience, and one way that we're solving for this at Squarespace. Before I get into that, let me set a little bit of context about Squarespace for those of you who might not be familiar. We're a platform that enables millions of people to bring their ideas to life and turn them into a thriving brand and business. We're an ecosystem of products that needs to work seamlessly together to pay off this product promise. Most people know us for our core website builder and beautifully designed templates, which our users can customize to uniquely reflect their brand identity. We also have a robust e-commerce offering with features like inventory and shipping management, a full transactions platform, and all the workflows someone would need to be successful selling. In addition to this, we have sophisticated marketing tools like our email campaigns product, SEO, and CRM, and a video creation app to help our customers promote themselves and their products. We also have multiple tools to build your online presence, such as Unfold, our social presence app, which has post and story templates, planning tools, and bio sites, our link in bio solution. And the beauty of our platform is that we also support multiple ways to monetize your business. So our customers can experiment with different business models to see what works best for them. You can sell physical products on our platform. You can sell your time in the form of appointments with our scheduling product. You can make passive income by selling all kinds of digital content from classes and courses, video content, and access to private areas of your site. And you can also sell subscriptions to content on a recurring basis. It's all extremely flexible and it's all connected. And at the center of it all, there's one core thing that we're known for, and that's premium design. This is why our customers come to us. So you can imagine how critical it is that our end-to-end experience reflect this core differentiator. But the last few years, we've put a lot of focus on building up our product muscle. We've tripled our product management team and matured the way that we develop products. We have a strong product strategy, objectives our teams need to hit, and we've worked hard to make sure that all teams are pushing the product forward. This is all great, but it left us with one big challenge. In a world where teams are incentivized to hit specific OKRs, how do you ensure the end product you ship is a great experience? But before I get into that, there are a few things that you should know about me. First, I view myself as a product leader who just happens to have deep experience in design. I have a long design background, but over the last few years, I've had roles where I was leading design, then over PM in design, then back to design, and I actually just shifted back to a product role over both functions again. And the biggest reason why this hybrid role works so well for me is because I truly believe that great products and great experiences are not mutually exclusive. Rarely do you ever see one without the other, and the best products are the ones that marry the two together seamlessly. But as a design leader, I believe that my role is to create an environment where great design can thrive. This is true of all great design leaders, and it's a philosophy I try to instill in all the leaders on my team. But there are two core pieces to this: environment and great design. On environment, first and foremost, I ensure that design and user value are solidified in the company culture. Hopefully, most companies are past the phase of why design, but the next phase is about truly infusing it into the company culture as a core value. The second piece is cross-functional collaboration. I spend a huge amount of time positioning design as a core part of the triad with rock-solid relationships. I coach a lot on team dynamics and partnerships. I also ensure that we're building an aspirational product. This means driving and influencing core strategic context like product mission, vision, strategy, and principles. It also means driving compelling narratives in all hands and empowering teams to discover and own the opportunity. Inspired team culture. Try to create a culture where everyone is inspired to do their best work. Develop a strong sense of community, development opportunities for everyone, and deep pride in our work. And finally, inclusive. I spent a lot of time trying to create an environment filled with diverse perspectives and backgrounds where ideas can come from anyone. And on the great design side of things, this means ensuring our work is informed by research and data, all kinds of insights, making sure that teams are developing human-centered empathy for users and really understand the why behind their work. Great design drives results. Designers need to understand the value their work is driving in order to further the opportunity. Rigor and excellence of craft. Set the bar really high and hold the team to that standard. Our quality of excellence is something that sets us apart. Great design is innovative. Are we pushing boundaries, creating new and interesting solutions? And finally, holistic. Great design needs to have ecosystem level thinking and be cohesive across the end-to-end journey. This can't just apply to current things you're working on. We're talking about the live product experience here. So on that note, I want to shift back to this problem statement. When you work in a mature product environment, how do you ensure the end product you ship is a great experience? Silos emerge, experiences become dated, things break. The quality of things we were actively shipping was great, but when you looked at the live experience, some cracks were starting to emerge. It was impacting what I call product integrity. We considered a number of ways to incorporate solving this into our working model, but we wanted to make a cultural recommitment of sorts to this kind of work. So we decided to hold a single week, design week, where every one of our product teams stopped everything to focus exclusively on this type of work. We have a similar model for Hack Week, so this was not a foreign concept for us. So for one full week, all of our product teams stopped everything and were given one goal: to elevate the experience design of our products across the board. We reminded everyone that Squarespace is a company literally founded on the idea of scaling great design to everyone. These values are infused into our company and product culture, and we need to make sure teams are thinking about the end-to-end experience and not just their own initiatives. We put two of our product principles front and center for this week. Quality matters and cohesion is key. So here's the rundown of how it worked. First, we announced this was happening months ahead with robust comms, so teams knew and could plan. It was our first time doing this, so clarity was key. We set the context, reminded teams of our core values and principles, and created an amazing internal site with a wealth of information on it. To kick things off, we hosted a 2-hour bug bash 1 month ahead, where all teams used as much of the product as they could and logged experience tickets. We had over 1,000 tickets created in just 2 hours, with the highest engagement coming from engineering, which goes to show how passionate everyone was about this work. After this, teams spent time sorting and prioritizing the tickets into their backlogs for the week. We wanted to make planning as effortless as possible, so this was really just a prioritization effort. While we tried to minimize the amount of time spent on this week outside of Design Week, most of these were low-lift initiatives, so designers spent about 20% of their time mocking up the experiences we needed to implement ahead of time to make the most of Design Week. Finally, Design Week arrived and teams got to work implementing the experience improvements. It was truly a cross-functional effort with everyone collaborating to make it happen. Designers, PMs, engineers, content strategists, researchers, everybody played a part. And we capped off the week with presentations from designers in each product area so we could collectively celebrate the progress we made in just 1 week. We hosted a celebration in our office that we squeezed in right before Omicron hit and created branded tote bags to commemorate the event. So all in all, the week was a huge success with over 150 improvements shipping in just 5 days. And now I want to show you a few of my favorite examples from the week. One of the issues that we had with our platform were the long character counts in our CMS for blog titles. You can see how this is an issue on mobile. But here is how it was manifesting on some of our customer sites. So the team had a very quick fix to default to next and previous on mobile and reduce the font size. Next, many of our templates were created with multiple pages, but for some customers who decide to reduce it down to just the home page, the menu icon was still showing up on mobile, but with nothing in it. So super easy, we just turn it off for single page sites. Many of our experiences were created by multiple teams over the years, and small differences were emerging. Like this one in our app where the headers were all off by just a few pixels. Talk about something that drives a designer crazy. So we quickly align them, no more jumping around between tabs anymore. We improved accessibility all over the platform with contrast ratios and other improvements. And we made lots of improvements to discoverability of core actions, like these editing functions that were nested within disclosures and made for a very tedious editing process. So this is a good one. When editing your products on mobile, our customers thought we just didn't have the ability to bulk edit. But in reality, it was just unbelievably hard to do, and you needed to tap and hold multiple items to enable it. Someone was clearly trying to be too clever with the solution. So we dramatically improved usability just by adding check marks, illustrating that often it's best just to stick with what works. We have a lot of video content in our Help Center, but the only way to navigate this was to scroll the entire page and read every single title. There was no search or filtering mechanism. So this team did a beautiful refresh of this page, adding new video categories, curated sections, and a much more engaging experience. And last but not least, my favorite example, the product pages on our selling templates all had the same layout. Image on the left, information on the right. Adding new layout options would provide a clear user value, but it wasn't going to impact the goals this team had, so it kept getting deprioritized. So the team implemented in Design Week. You can now select from a multitude of different layout options, adding new ways for our customers to express their brand. Talk about a team really leaning into our values here. So these are a few examples of what we were able to do in a week. And as we go into planning now for our second Design Week, I wanted to share some key learnings that we had in hopes that all of you can take this with you and think about similar ways to prioritize the experience. First, timing is key. Make sure you're factoring in all the other things teams need to juggle. Our Design Week goes in December, and I will never do that again. Teams were already stressed to finish their planning for the new year. Holidays were around the corner. Teams were still engaged, but timing really matters here. Second, a week is short. This means that only initiatives that fit into a week will get done. It's low-hanging fruit, which is still impactful, but for certain epic level initiatives, this is not your format. But a week is also incredibly powerful. It's a statement from leadership that they believe this is so important. They are willing to stop everything to make space for it. Our CEO even spoke about this in our company all hands, saying it was one of the most impactful things we did all year. This was a huge boost to team morale and an infusion of this core value in our culture. And this has lasting effects far beyond a week. So this was how we ran our first design week. But now I want to flip the narrative and ask you all to think about how you might be able to solve this problem for your team. You don't need to work at a design-centric company like Squarespace to make an impact here. There's a couple of ideas. First, host a sprint with your local team. We actually had one team who couldn't participate in Design Week, and instead they created their own Design Week in Q1 of this year, which was equally as impactful for them. Start a backlog that teams can tackle in downtime. If it's on the to-do list, it's much more likely to get prioritized. Organize a few teams around a theme like onboarding and make a mini design week out of it. So many times teams are tackling the same problem space in different ways, and collaborating together on something like this can be hugely impactful. Encourage dog fooding the product with your cross-functional partners, which really just means to use the live product in the way your customers would. Help them see the issue here. This can't be a design-only problem. Everyone can play a role in helping their partners avoid tunnel vision and see the full picture. Look for other ways to infuse these values into the day-to-day of your teams, like adding an experience lens to your product principles. So I hope that you can bring some of these ideas back to your work and think about all the ways that you can prioritize the experience in your team. And with that, I have one more thing that I want to leave you with. We decided to publish our internal site, which has all the details about our design week, including a huge set of FAQs. Feel free to use this as a playbook or adapt it to create your own. There are so many ways that you can bring this to life. This is just one example, but hopefully seeing all the details of how we did this can help inspire you to think about the ways that it can work for your team and your company. And so to wrap it all up, incentivizing teams around goals and OKRs is a good thing. It creates focus and progress, but it also means that you have to be really thoughtful to make sure that the product experience does not fail in the face of this. It's the ultimate balancing act. And so thank you so much. This was a really fun initiative for us to pilot. I see us doing this for many years to come, and I hope that there are lots of different ways that you all can see how you might bring this to life. Feel free to keep the conversation going. Reach out to me on Twitter. I'm happy to keep talking about this work, and hopefully this was inspiring to you all. Thank you.